Hey guys, hello back. Rather, welcome back. We have a new challenge coming here today against Mr. Javadesabadi. Probably said it wrong, but that was a tricky name anyway. So we have the Alekhine's defense today. Fairly rare opening at the very top levels, but actually fairly popular at club level. This game, by the way, is 5+3 rather than the normal longer time control games that I've played, simply because I actually waited for a very long time for somebody to accept the challenge by me, but just nobody did. So I put the request for a shorter game, so hopefully we will still have an interesting game. In this position you can see that white is controlling the center fairly nicely, but the black position is very solid, so I'm going to be waiting with developing this knight as much as I can, not to allow bishop g4, but it seems that at this point, after he plays knight c6, I'm fairly forced to develop it, so let's go to e2. So now it means that after bishop g4, I might have the option of going f3. If I would play knight f3, the more obvious move, then that move would be fairly awkward to meet. So now if I want to play against that bishop, I can consider going with a move like h3, but it's a slightly slow move to play in the opening. Let's castle. I think it's a very normal move. I think now black has basically two options, either going bishop g4 or playing a move like, for example, bishop f6, or the move he did in the game knight b4, but so he wants to get the two bishops advantage, but I think I have some small tactical nuance. I think I can play bishop b1. I think that's very important. Now if he takes on c4, I think I have two good moves. Either I play a3, chasing the knight back, and then queen d3. Maybe even queen b3 immediately forking these two knights might also be good, but all in all, he just can't take on c4. And if he cannot take on c4, it means that the move knight b4 is just going to be a waste of time, because this knight is going to be at some point pushed away. So now I think black must play once again bishop g4. It's becoming too late almost. If he's not going to play this move right now, I'm going to consider in the next move, maybe even trying to play a move which will actually even not allow this move anymore, like for example h3, maybe even knight g3, just to control that square with the queen. So he plays d5. Okay, sensible move, striking in the center. So I think I'm gonna play c5, because taking on d5 is something I really don't want to do. It's just helping him to activate his knight. Yeah, let's play c5. It's actually fairly awkward to meet, because if he plays knight c4, these two knights here, while seem very active, are actually pretty much unstable. They will be chased away very easily with b3 and a3. And if he goes knight e7, I think you have a tactical problem, that now I can play a3, or actually even queen b3. Once again, this move might also win material for me, but even just the simple a3 is going to win material because now the pawn on d5 is hanging. I don't really see a reason why not to capture it. So we already won a pawn, which is nice. Now my d5 knight is challenged. I think I'll take the bishop probably, with the idea to have this option of pinning him with bishop g5. So he's taking his time to think. Yeah, he decided to capture with the knight. I don't think it's a huge difference. Let's play bishop g5 still. Knight d5. Yeah, now this knight has a nice blockade, but I think with some accurate moves I should be able to fight against that blockade. Let's start by queen d3. Creating this little battery. I don't have any particular threat at the moment because the knight still protects the pawn on h7. But my next move might be something like knight c3 with some ideas to destroy this d5 knight. Yeah, c6. I think I will play knight c3 still. My threat now is to take on d5, using the fact that he cannot recapture with the knight, so he would be forced to recapture with the queen or the pawn. Then I will take on f6 and basically checkmate. So he actually now has a very serious threat to react to. Actually, I don't see a very good way for him to deal with this. He might try g6, but that's a very, very weakening move. It will leave this knight badly hanging on f6. Even though at the moment I don't see any more reasonable options for him. Probably his whole plan of recapturing with the knight was probably too optimistic. It wasted perhaps too much time. I'm even surprised. Yeah, g6 is a kind of a move that black really don't want to do, but he's kind of forced to. I'm going to take on d5. Yeah, he's forced to take with the pawn. Now, I think I can win a pawn fairly conveniently with queen f3. He will have to play king g7. Now if I want, I can just take the pawn or even play for more, try to keep kind of the tension here. Play for some attack perhaps. So taking the pawn is fairly safe, but this pin is actually very unpleasant for him. So I think from a practical point of view, much stronger would be probably to try and preserve it. Let's just develop pieces. Rook e1. This rook might be useful on controlling this open file. For example, he cannot play rook e8 because I can take it and take on f6. It's also useful to have those options to go rook e5 to add some pressure to this pawn. So he plays h6, so I can just play bishop h4, perhaps forcing even more weakening of his position with g5, which also will open up this diagonal for me. So black really have not too many good options here. I think the position is close to being resignable. But once again, it's a short time control game, so he might continue. Yeah, g5, bishop g3. Now the bishop wants to reroute itself right there. Bishop g4. Queen. Let's go to d3. My next move is definitely going to be bishop e5, threatening queen h7 check. So I think the only reasonable way for him to fight against this is to go bishop h5, yeah, followed by bishop g6, with the idea to cover that diagonal. I'm going to go back on f3 now that the bishop is gone. I want to keep this knight as under pressure as possible. Rook e8, okay. So the obvious move for me is just to take on g6. And then once again I can grab the pawn by the simple tactic bishop takes f6, queen takes d5. But once again, I'm thinking about playing for more. Because I have such a big domination over the position, I want to play bishop a2. I want to take on d5 basically, but to take it, let's say, with all comforts. I want to take it without parting with my two bishops advantage. And now my plan was to sacrifice actually my rook against that bishop. Yeah, let's do it just for the sake of aesthetics. So from sheer material point of view, we have a bishop and 2 pawns for a rook. Yeah, but this bishop was way too strong, so he decided to give the rook against it. Even though even if he wouldn't do it, it would be, I think, dead lost. My bishops on e5 and a2 were so strong. The position must be losing. So now I'm just having 2 pawns up for precisely 0 compensation. Actually less than 0 because white also have the better position here. Queen e8. Okay. So at this point, having such a big material advantage, I'm not really against exchanging queens. I just want to do it on my terms. So I want to keep the control over the open file. And now with the 2 extra pawns, the winning process should be fairly easy. So let's really do it in the most technician, let's not rush pushing the pawns. This might actually backfire. Let's bring the king first. I have a lot of time here. Black has no counterplay. There is no reason to rush to do anything. Now I like this move, the restricting move. Even though I'm not even forced to do this, why should I do this? King d3. If the knight goes to e6, I will very happily make the transition into a pawn endgame. King e7. Can already play d5. Yeah, why not? Creating this threat. Let's go d6 because once again, why not? I'll grab another pawn right there. Maybe he wants to go knight g4 with some counterplay. Well, it's funny to say counterplay in such position, but I don't really see why should I allow that. So let's play f3, controlling everything. So my opponent is not resigning, but it's basically not changing anything. Let's keep the pawns connected. I'll go king d4. I don't really understand why the opponents keep on playing. Yeah, now this is checkmate. That's convenient. I wanted to play bishop e8 first, but this is checkmate is checkmate. Time to finish this game. So overall, I think very critical mistake by my opponent was these two moves, knight b4 and d5. Let's see what the engine thinks. So the engine saying white is just slightly better after a normal move like bishop f6, but after knight b4, you see already the evaluation is rising above +1. And d5 probably just a losing move. Yeah, d5, c5, and yeah, just this pawn up position is just already very bad for black, because it's not only a pawn up for white, also his pieces has very good coordination to create some attack against the king. So all in all, fairly easy game today. Hope for some hope that you enjoyed that game, and see you in the next videos. See you guys. Bye bye.